I heard the crash before I saw his face, and in that split second, I knew this morning would end badly. The metal weights slammed down for the third time in 5 minutes, rattling the cable machine so hard I felt it in my chest. My hands shook on the bar I was holding. This wasn't just noise. This was deliberate, aggressive, the kind of sound that makes everyone in the room stop and stare. Except nobody else was here. Just me, my husband Marcus working through his sets beside me, and this guy on the other side of the machine, his AirPods jammed in his ears like he was the only person in the world. Another crash. The handles whipped upward, clanging against the machine. Marcus glanced at me, his jaw tight. We'd been coming to this apartment gym for 2 years. Same routine every Tuesday and Thursday morning before work. 6:30 sharp. The place was usually empty. Peaceful even, our little sanctuary before the chaos of the day. This was our time, our space to breathe and push through the stress of everything else falling apart around us. The job I was barely hanging on to, the medical bills piling up from his mother's treatment, the constant weight of just trying to stay afloat. Crash. My teeth clenched. The guy had to hear how loud he was, had to know, but he just kept going. Lifting and dropping, like he was trying to break something. Or maybe prove something. His face was blank, almost bored, as he scrolled through his phone between sets. "Babe," Marcus whispered, touching my arm. "Let it go." But I couldn't. Not today. Not after the week I'd had. My boss had called me into his office yesterday, told me my performance was slipping, that I needed to show more commitment or they'd have to reevaluate my position. Never mind that I'd stayed late 3 nights in a row. Never mind that I'd covered for 2 sick coworkers. Commitment. The word had burned in my throat all night. Another set. Another crash. This one felt personal. I set down my weights carefully, quietly, the way you're supposed to, the way everyone who isn't a complete jerk does it. My heart hammered as I turned toward him. He was maybe 25, athletic build, wearing an expensive-looking workout shirt with some tech company logo on it. The kind of guy who probably made twice my salary and didn't think twice about it. "Excuse me," I said, my voice cutting through the gym. "Can you not slam the weights?" The words came out harder than I'd planned, sharper. I'd meant to be polite, diplomatic, to add a please or ask if he minded, but something in me had snapped. The sound died in the air between us. He pulled out one AirPod, his expression shifting from confusion to irritation in less than a second. "What?" "The weights. You're slamming them. It's really loud." His eyes narrowed. Behind him, I could see our reflections in the mirror. Me, 5'4", and suddenly feeling much smaller. Marcus rising from the bench, moving closer. "I'm just working out," the guy said, his voice flat. "You're dropping them. There's a difference." He looked at Marcus, then back at me, and something flickered across his face. Not quite anger, something colder. He put the AirPod back in, grabbed the handles, and did one more set. This time, he lowered the weight slowly, deliberately, the silence almost mocking. Then he grabbed his phone and water bottle and walked out. The door closed behind him with a soft click. "Well," Marcus said, "that was intense." My hands were still shaking. Was I out of line? No, he was being loud. You asked him to stop. But Marcus's voice had that careful quality to it, the one he used when he didn't want to start an argument. Though maybe the delivery was a little what? Direct. I wanted to defend myself, to explain that I tried being nice my whole life, and where had it gotten me? Overlooked at work, talked over in meetings, watching people take credit for my ideas while I smiled and nodded. But instead, I just picked up my weights again. We finished our workout in silence. The gym felt too quiet now, too empty. Every sound I made seemed amplified. Was I being too loud? Too rough? I found myself setting everything down like it was made of glass. By the time we got back to our apartment, the guilt had started settling in. Marcus headed for the shower while I made coffee, but I couldn't stop replaying the scene. The guy's face, the way he'd looked at me. He was a regular here. We'd seen him dozens of times. Now what? Awkward encounters in the hallway? Pointed stairs in the gym? Would he complain to the building management? My phone buzzed. Work email. My boss wanted to schedule another meeting for tomorrow. Subject line, performance review follow-up. Perfect. Just perfect. I was still staring at my phone when Marcus came out, hair wet, wearing his work clothes. You okay? Fine. You don't look fine. I just don't need another thing to worry about, you know? The words came out more bitter than I'd intended. Is it too much to ask for people to just follow basic gym etiquette? Marcus poured himself coffee, not looking at me. Sometimes it's easier to just let things go. Let things go, I repeated the word slowly. Like I let my boss talk to me like I'm incompetent? Like I let your sister make passive-aggressive comments every time we see her? Like I let the woman at the grocery store cut in front of me yesterday because I didn't want to make a scene? That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? He set down his cup. I meant that you've been on edge lately. And I get it, I do. But you can't control everything. The words hit harder than the slamming weights. You can't control everything. As if I didn't know that. As if the entire problem wasn't exactly that everything was spiraling and I couldn't get a grip on any of it. I need to get ready for work, I said. The morning commute was brutal. Traffic was worse than usual, and I kept checking my rearview mirror, half expecting to see the gym guy in the car behind me, glaring, which was ridiculous. Paranoid. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd made everything worse. Work was exactly as terrible as I'd expected. My boss, Richard, was in rare form, micromanaging every email, questioning every decision. The performance review meeting tomorrow loomed over me like a thundercloud. At lunch, I sat in my car in the parking garage, eating a sad desk salad I'd brought from home, trying not to cry. My phone rang. Marcus. Hey, I said, trying to sound normal. Hey, listen, I've been thinking about this morning. I don't want to fight. I'm not trying to fight. I just think maybe you should apologize to that guy if you see him again. Clear the air. I almost laughed. Apologize? For asking him to follow basic rules? For how, you asked? You said yourself it came out harsher than you meant. So I'm the bad guy now? Sarah, come on. That's not what I'm saying. But it felt like exactly what he was saying. It felt like everyone was telling me to be smaller, quieter, more accommodating, to take up less space, to let things go. I have to get back to work, I said, and hung up before he could respond. The afternoon dragged. Every email felt like a landmine. Every meeting felt like a test I was failing. By the time 5 o'clock rolled around, I was exhausted in a way that went beyond physical. I drove home slowly, dreading everything. The empty apartment, the uncomfortable conversation I'd probably have with Marcus, the performance review tomorrow, the possibility of running into the gym guy in the hallway. But when I pulled into the parking garage, I saw something that made my stomach drop. The gym guy's car. I recognized it from the personalized license plate, one of those tech company perks. He was here, in the building. And tomorrow morning, we'd probably be back in that gym at the same time. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, building up the courage to go inside. When I finally did, I took the stairs instead of the elevator, just in case. Our apartment was on the 4th floor. By the time I reached our door, my legs burned and my heart raced. Marcus was already home, cooking dinner. The smell of garlic and onions filled the apartment. Hey, he said, not turning around. How was work? Fine. That bad, huh? I dropped my bag on the counter. I saw his car, the gym guy. He's home. Marcus finally looked at me. Okay, what if he complains? What if he tells the building management I was harassing him or something? Sarah, you asked him not to slam weights. That's not harassment. But what if he sees it that way? What if he makes a big deal out of it? Then we'll deal with it. But you're spiraling over something that probably won't happen. He turned back to the stove. Dinner's almost ready. I wanted to feel reassured. I wanted to believe him. But the anxiety had its hooks in me now, and it wasn't letting go. We ate in near silence. Marcus tried making conversation, asking about work, but I gave one-word answers. My mind kept circling back to the gym, to that moment, to the look on the guy's face. After dinner, I opened my laptop to do some work, trying to prepare for tomorrow's review, but I couldn't focus. Every sound in the building made me jump. Footsteps in the hallway, a door closing. Was that him? Was he talking to the building manager right now? At 9, Marcus went to bed. I stayed up, scrolling mindlessly through my phone, reading articles I wouldn't remember, watching videos I didn't care about. Anything to avoid thinking about tomorrow. Finally, at midnight, I gave up and went to bed. Marcus was already asleep, his breathing steady and peaceful. I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything. The morning would come too soon. The gym, the review, all of it. I must have fallen asleep eventually because the alarm shocked me awake at 5:30. Marcus stirred beside me. "You still want to go to the gym?" he asked, his voice rough with sleep. The question hung in the air. I could say no. We could skip it today, avoid the possibility of confrontation. But something in me refused. Why should I change my routine? Why should I be the one to back down? "Yeah," I said. "Let's go." We got dressed in silence. The gym was just down the hall from our apartment, on the ground floor. As we walked there, my heart pounded. The door was propped open. Inside, I could hear the familiar sounds of equipment, the hum of the treadmill. And there he was, the guy, already on the cable machine, same side as yesterday, his AirPods in, his face blank. Marcus touched my arm. "We can use something else." "No," I said. "This is our spot." We walked in. The guy glanced up, saw us, and his expression hardened. But he didn't leave. He just kept working out. I set up on the other side of the machine, exactly where I'd been yesterday. Marcus positioned himself on the bench. The tension was thick enough to choke on. The guy did a set. He lowered the weights carefully, quietly, almost exaggeratedly so. I started my own workout, trying to focus on form, on breathing, on anything except the person 3 feet away. But I was hyper-aware of every movement he made, every sound. He did another set. Quiet again. Then his phone rang. He pulled out an AirPod, answered. "Yeah, I'm at the gym." "No, it's fine. Just some woman being crazy yesterday." He glanced at me while he said it. "Yeah, totally overreacted. Whatever. I'll call you back." My face burned. Marcus put down his weights. "Excuse me?" I said. The guy looked at me, feigning innocence. "What?" "I'm not crazy. I asked you to stop slamming weights. That's a reasonable request." And I left, didn't I? But apparently that wasn't. Enough. Now you're here, staring at me like I'm some kind of criminal. I'm not staring at you. I'm using the gym. This is when I always come here. Right, sure, he smirked. "Look, lady, I don't know what your problem is, but maybe you need to find another gym if you can't handle normal gym sounds." Something inside me cracked. Normal gym sounds? You were slamming weights hard enough to shake the floor. That's not normal. That's disrespectful. Disrespectful? He laughed. Actually laughed. You know what's disrespectful? Getting in someone's face while they're trying to work out, telling them what to do, acting like you own the place. Marcus stood up. "Hey man, that's enough." The guy turned to him. "Oh, so now the husband's going to defend her? Classic." "We're just trying to work out in peace," Marcus said, his voice strained with the effort of staying calm. "Just like you. Let's all just do our thing and move on." "Fine by me." The guy grabbed his stuff. "But next time, keep your wife on a leash." The words hung in the air like poison. Marcus stepped forward, but I grabbed his arm. The guy walked out, the door slamming behind him. I stood there, shaking. Not from fear, from rage. Pure, white-hot rage. "Sarah," Marcus said softly, "let it go." But I was done letting things go. I was done being told to be smaller, quieter, more polite. I was done with people who thought they could treat me like I didn't matter. I grabbed my phone and opened the building's resident app. There was a section for complaints. I started typing, my fingers flying across the screen. Harassment, verbal abuse, creating a hostile environment. I detailed everything. The weights, the confrontation, the comment he'd made on the phone, the final insult. "What are you doing?" Marcus asked. "Filing a complaint." "Sarah, is that really necessary?" I looked up at him. "Yes, it is. You're going to make this into a whole thing. Building management will get involved. They might make us all sit down together. Is that what you want?" I want him to know he can't talk to people like that. Marcus ran his hand through his hair. "Okay, fine, but think about this. Your performance review is today. You're already stressed. Do you really want to add more drama?" He was right. I knew he was right, but I hit submit anyway. The response came within an hour. Building management would investigate. They'd be in touch. In the meantime, they recommended we use the gym at different times to avoid further conflict. So I was the one who had to change my schedule. Perfect. The performance review was exactly as bad as I'd feared. Richard sat across from me, his expression grave, listing all the ways I'd fallen short. My numbers were down. My attitude needed improvement. I needed to be more of a team player. "I've been covering for people," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I've been staying late. I don't understand what more I can do." "It's not about hours, Sarah. It's about presence, leadership. You seem distracted lately, disconnected." Distracted, disconnected. The words felt like slaps. "I need to see significant improvement in the next 30 days, Richard continued, "or we'll need to discuss whether this role is the right fit for you." I walked out of his office in a daze. 30 days. A month to prove myself or lose my job. The job that paid for half our rent, that covered my student loans, that kept us afloat while Marcus's income went to his mother's medical bills. I made it to the bathroom before the tears came, locked myself in a stall, and let it all out. The frustration, the fear, the overwhelming sense that I was fighting a battle on every front and losing. When I finally pulled myself together and checked my phone, there was an email from building management. They'd spoken to the other resident. He'd filed a counter-complaint. He claimed I'd been aggressive and threatening, that I'd created an unsafe environment, that he feared for his safety. I actually laughed, a harsh, broken sound that echoed off the bathroom tiles. He feared for his safety. From me? A woman half his size who'd asked him not to slam weights? There would be a mediation session next week. Both parties were required to attend. Failure to do so could result in lease violations. I forwarded the email to Marcus with a single word: unbelievable. His response came immediately. "We should probably get a lawyer." A lawyer? For a gym dispute? How had my life become this absurd? The rest of the workday was a blur. I went through the motions, responded to emails, attended meetings, but my mind was elsewhere, on the mediation, on the review, on the gym guy's smug face and Richard's disappointed expression, and Marcus's careful, measured words. Let it go. When I got home, Marcus was already there, papers spread across the dining table. Medical bills. His mother's treatment wasn't covered as well as they'd thought. They were facing thousands in unexpected costs. "Hey," he said, not looking up, "how was the review? 30 days or I'm fired." Now he looked up. "What?" I told him everything. He listened, his face growing more strained with each word. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. "Maybe that's for the best," he finally said. "Losing my job is for the best?" "No, I mean, maybe it's time to look for something else anyway, something less stressful. You've been miserable there for months." "We can't afford for me to job hunt right now, not with your mom's bills." "We'll figure it out." "How? How will we figure it out, Marcus?" My voice rose. "We're barely making it as it is, and now I've got this stupid mediation hanging over my head, and my boss thinks I'm incompetent, and you keep telling me to just let everything go like that's going to magically fix anything." "I'm not saying that." "Then what are you saying?" He stood up, started gathering the bills. "I'm saying that sometimes you make things harder than they need to be. You turn small problems into big ones. Like this gym thing, you could have just ignored him or asked nicely, but instead you confronted him, filed a complaint, and now we're getting dragged into mediation. Was it worth it?" The question landed like a punch. Was it worth it? Standing up for myself? Refusing to be treated like I didn't matter? Was that really something I had to justify? Get out, I said quietly. What? Get out. Go stay with your mom or your sister or whoever. I don't care. Just leave. Sarah, come on. I didn't mean, yes, you did. You meant exactly that. You think I'm the problem. That I'm too much, too difficult, too unwilling to just smile and take whatever people dish out. Well, you know what? I'm done apologizing for taking up space. Marcus stared at me for a long moment. Then he grabbed his keys and walked out. The apartment was silent. I stood in the middle of the living room, shaking, wondering what I'd just done. My phone buzzed. Building management again. The mediation had been moved up. Tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock. I wanted to scream. Instead, I poured a glass of wine and sat on the couch, staring at nothing. Tomorrow, I'd face the gym guy. Tomorrow, I'd somehow have to sit across from him and pretend we could resolve this like adults. Tomorrow, I'd have to be calm and reasonable and everything I didn't feel like being. But tonight, I could just sit here and let myself feel angry, let myself feel righteous, let myself believe that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't the one in the wrong. The mediation room was exactly what I'd expected. Bland walls, uncomfortable chairs, a fake plant in the corner trying desperately to add life to the space. The mediator, a woman in her 50s named Patricia, smiled with professional warmth as Marcus and I took our seats across from the gym guy. His name was Derek. I learned that when Patricia introduced us, like we were meeting for the first time instead of having already battled it out twice. He had his own support person, a friend from his tech company who looked bored to be there. Thank you all for coming, Patricia began. The goal today is to find a resolution that works for everyone. This is a safe space for open, honest communication. Let's start by having each party share their perspective. Sarah, would you like to go first? I took a breath. Marcus squeezed my hand under the table. We'd made up last night, or at least reached a truce. He'd come home around midnight, apologized for his words. I'd apologized for kicking him out. We'd agreed to present a united front today. I asked Derek not to slam weights because it was disruptive, I said, keeping my voice level. That's gym etiquette. When he became defensive and later made disrespectful comments, I filed a complaint because I felt harassed. That's my perspective. Patricia nodded, making notes. Derek, your turn. He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. I was working out. She came at me aggressively, telling me what to do. Then she showed up the next day, obviously trying to intimidate me. When I defended myself, she filed a false complaint. Now I'm the one being portrayed as the bad guy when I'm just trying to use the gym I pay for. You called me crazy, I said. You told your friend I overreacted. Then you told my husband to keep me on a leash. I didn't say that. Yes, you did. Marcus heard it too. Derek's friend shifted uncomfortably. Patricia held up a hand. Let's focus on finding solutions, not relitigating past grievances. What would make both of you feel comfortable using the shared gym space? He could follow basic gym rules, I said, and not insult people who point out when he's being disruptive. She could mind her own business and not police how other people work out, Derek shot back. This was going nowhere. I could see it in Patricia's face in the way she kept glancing at the clock. We were going to sit here for an hour, accomplish nothing, and leave with the same problem we'd started with. What if we establish set gym times? Patricia suggested. Sarah and Marcus in the morning, Derek in the evening, or vice versa. Why should we change our schedule? I asked. We've been coming at that time for 2 years. I've been coming at that time for 6 months, Derek countered, and I was there first yesterday morning. Because we took a day off. So you admit it's not actually your regular time. I wanted to throw something. Instead, I forced myself to breathe. This is ridiculous. We're adults. We should be able to share a gym without needing assigned times like children. I agree, Derek said, which is why you should stop acting like you own the place. Marcus spoke up for the first time. Look, man, we're not trying to own anything. We're just asking for basic respect. Can we agree on that? Mutual respect? Derek studied him for a moment. Then he shrugged. Sure, respect. That means not getting in my face about how I work out. It means not slamming equipment, I said. It means not verbally harassing people, Marcus added. I didn't harass anyone. The leash comment was harassment, I said flatly. Derek's friend whispered something to him. Derek's jaw tightened. Fine, maybe that was out of line, but you pushed me to it. So you admit you said it? I pressed. Patricia intervened again. This is good progress. Derek's acknowledging that that comment was inappropriate. Sarah, can you acknowledge that your initial approach might have been more confrontational than intended? Every fiber of my being resisted, but Marcus squeezed my hand again, and I thought about the alternative. Another complaint, more meetings, possible lease violations, everything escalating until one of us had to move. It came out harsher than I planned, I said carefully. I was frustrated by the noise. Great, Patricia said, smiling like we'd solved world peace. So, moving forward, here's what I propose. Both parties agree to be mindful of gym etiquette. That includes noise levels and respectful communication. If issues arise, you'll address them calmly or bring them to building management before they escalate. Does that work? What choice did we have? We both nodded. The meeting ended with handshakes that felt like lies. Derek left quickly, his friend trailing behind. Marcus and I walked back to our apartment in silence. Well, he said once we were inside, that was fun. I collapsed on the couch. I still don't think I was wrong. You weren't, but sometimes being right doesn't matter. That's a depressing worldview. It's a realistic one. My phone buzzed. Work email. Richard wanted to see me first thing tomorrow morning. Another follow-up. Another reminder that my job hung by a thread. I showed Marcus the email. He sat beside me, pulling me close. It's going to be okay. You don't know that. No, but I choose to believe it anyway. I wanted to believe it too, but belief felt like a luxury I couldn't afford. The next morning, Marcus and I went to the gym at our usual time. Derek wasn't there. A small victory. We worked out in peace, the silence between us comfortable for the first time in days. At work, Richard's office felt like a courtroom. He closed the door, gestured for me to sit. My heart raced. Sarah, he began, I've been thinking about our conversation, about what you said regarding coverage and hours. Here it comes, I thought, the firing, the end. You were right. I blinked. What? You've been picking up slack for others. I haven't acknowledged that enough, but your numbers are still down, and I need to understand why. So I told him about the stress, about feeling undervalued, about watching others advance while I stayed stagnant despite working twice as hard, about how difficult it was to stay motivated when every effort went unnoticed. He listened, actually listened. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair. What would you need to succeed here, realistically? The question caught me off guard. What did I need? Recognition, support, a path forward that didn't feel like running uphill in sand? Clear goals, I said finally. Feedback that's constructive, not just critical, and maybe some acknowledgement when things go right, not just when they go wrong. Richard nodded slowly. I can do that. Let's reset. 30 days, like I said. But this time, we'll have weekly check-ins. I'll make sure you've got what you need. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't even a guarantee. But it was something, a chance. Maybe that was enough. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did I handle the gym confrontation the right way, or should I have let it slide from the start?